What up, what up? Welcome on into Inside Baylor Sports, the official daily podcast of Baylor Athletics. On today's show, we recap this past weekend in Baylor Athletics and look ahead to another busy spring weekend coming up for your Baylor Bears. All that and more coming up on the show. Don't forget, you can catch Inside Baylor Sports every weekday. You can also watch the video version for free over at BaylorPlus.com and on the Baylor Athletics YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, rate, and review the pod. And follow Baylor Plus today on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. It's the official content network of Baylor Athletics. Think Netflix for your Baylor Bears. Download the app on your mobile device and sign up for your free 7-day trial today at BaylorPlus.com. It's Tuesday, April 9th, 2024. Justin Hoff alongside Senior Associate AD for Student Athlete Success, Corey Bolts. And Corey, on Monday, something called an eclipse. This thing was taking over the internet. I mean, all over the place, and we were in one of the best spots. What did you do? Did you take this thing in?
I definitely took it in. We were in one of the best spots, so how could you not? I mean, I feel like it's a waste of a moment in history if you chose to live under a rock somewhere and not take it in. So I took it in, had my glasses, so I was safe and protected my eyes, but I watched probably, 3 to 4 minutes before full totality because I wanted to see the moon cover the sun. So that was a really cool moment. But to just sit in this is going to sound really weird, but to just sit in the totality and just take in the darkness and listen for what the animals were doing. I mean, I felt the temperature decrease significantly once all the sun was gone. And it was really cool. I'm not the biggest science person, so I can't tell you all the stuff that actually happened scientifically, but I thought it was dope. And to see the glare, I don't know if that's the right terminology, but the glare of the sun outlining the moon, I wish I had a camera to be able to capture it. And I was trying to do it on my phone. It didn't do it any justice, but it was fun. I was glad to be able to be on the path of full totality. The last time we had an eclipse over the US, I watched, but where I was living, it was like maybe 60 or 70%. So this was a very different experience, but a really, really cool one. So you asked about me. Did you watch? Did you take it in? What did y'all do?
Well, so the wife and the kids are over at the in-laws right now. Okay, I'm doing some house duty on Monday. I was doing some house duty, and so doing some cleaning around here and also getting into my inbox and my emails. I was telling you about that before the podcast. Man, I'll tell you what, when you work in college athletics, you're getting emails left and right from all sorts of different spots. Like I feel like a boxer up there in the ring just getting smacked across the face. So I was doing a lot of that work. I did have eyes on it, and I noticed it got super dark out. I didn't actually, I'll be honest, I did not go outside, okay? But I guess I did live under a rock, like you said. I had a lot of friends. I saw the images. I saw what I could have seen, but I didn't have any glasses. And I was thinking about what you were saying. I'm not trying to blow up these eyes.
Yeah, no, you got to protect the eyes for sure. And interestingly enough, though, Justin, seeing it go from really bright outside, even if you didn't go out and actually look up, right? Seeing it go from super bright outside to decently dark, where if you were using natural light in your home, you probably needed to turn on a light to see some things clearly without squinting in the middle of the day. I think that still gives you an experience. But yeah, so you got a little taste. You got a little taste of it. We'll let you get a pass because family is a number one priority, so that can take precedent on what you have to handle at home. But glad you at least took in something and you witnessed what was going on around you.
Yeah, it kind of felt like the world was ending a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, with or a really bad like tornado storm midday. Okay, to make it that dark. Or I had this weird, I guess, nightmare that I'm up in Alaska and it's the middle of the day and it's dark. Okay, that's not the place I want to be ever. Okay, maybe the time where it's all bright. Alaska is a nice place to visit, but not a good place for me to live. So yeah,
That's awesome.
Different. Unique.
It is different. It's different. And you make an interesting point too. This is why it's great to talk to friends. I wouldn't have thought about places where it stays dark and gloomy all the time because we're spoiled with the beautiful sunshine we have down here. To your point, if it's the middle of the day and that dark on a consistent basis, I would not know how to survive in regions of the country that are like that. So it does make me grateful for the fact that that was 4 minutes ish for the friends here in Waco. And then we went right back to sunny sunshine. What was really impressive is it had been super cloudy much of what was that, Sunday, much of Sunday, and then much of the morning on Tuesday or Monday. So to see the sun come out and see it a little bit more clear right when we needed to, I was like, okay, God, shout out to you. appreciate you helping me experience this, because I thought for sure I wasn't going to see it just because of how cloudy it was. So anywho, we had a great experience, got to see some cool stuff, whether personally or through the window. And now we have what, another couple decades until until the next one comes.
Yeah, I was gonna say when the next one is, but yeah, Jerry Hill. And I'm not necessarily gonna second all his thoughts, but on yesterday's show, Jerry was like, "Okay, watch the eclipse and then get the heck out of my town. Okay, get up on out of here, get off my lawn." And we'll hopefully they were able to catch a sporting event this past weekend. Let's take a look at what happened to Baylor Athletics this past weekend. Busy times, hey, in April and May, we have a lot of sports going on right now. 9 competing for Baylor Athletics. On Friday, men's tennis, they traveled to Oklahoma, lost 4-0. Softball, they fell to Texas Tech 4-3, but came back and won that series. Incarnate Word baseball, they took on the Incarnate Word 13-7 win on Friday. They won the series as well, 2 of 3 wins for both baseball and softball. And then acrobatics and tumbling, doing what acrobatics and tumbling does, 274.915 to Oregon's 216.595 out in Eugene, Oregon. And once again, another undefeated season for Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling. They'll be the number 1 seed at the NCATA Nationals here in a couple weeks. And remember, that sport's going full NCAA in a couple of years. I believe it 2026. So 2 years from now, we'll see an NCAA title, and hopefully maybe we'll see that championship here in Waco. We'll see how it all shakes out. But A&T still undefeated and not looking back, Corey.
It's amazing to see dominant programs, and they're a dominant program, Justin. They have competed at a high level, competition after competition after competition, and what they've been able to accomplish is absolutely legendary. And I don't think that it can be understated, the work that goes in for that program and the successes that they're seeing after it. And I can't help but think about, you talk about them undefeated regular season, preparing themselves for another championship and going for that. Just saw from a women's basketball standpoint, South Carolina undefeated season ended up winning the championship earlier, a couple days ago on Sunday. So it's cool to just see programs be successful, see coaches and young women in this case laid it all out there. And Coach Fee runs a great shop and is big about those women working hard, but also big on those women developing as young women and providing opportunities for them to do so, and ensuring that they're not slacking on any area of their lives. And I think that's one of the things that's commendable as well. So yeah, they're getting it done on the mat, but then they're also getting it done in the classroom, and they're involved in things in the community. And it's just really, really cool to see them successful. So love that they did what they do over the weekend, and they get 2 weeks or so to prepare for nationals, and then they'll go for, what is this, 8 straight, Justin?
9
straight? Yeah.
9.
So,
yeah, it's hard to keep track, but
I know.
Or it's a 9, then 10, and then let's keep it going 11. I just can't wait till it's an NCAA sport.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's at that level now, but obviously transitioning, and it takes time, and you got to get enough teams in there.
Mm-hmm.
But when that happens, I think a lot of people are going to take notice of not only A&T, but also Baylor, Coach Fee, everybody that's been through this. And I think that's going to be an opportunity. You really have a lifetime for the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. It's cool as you think about our industry of college athletics. It's really cool when you get to see sports emerge, and when you see them go from being an emerging sport to a recognized varsity sport at the NCAA level. And I know that we've done a lot of different things with Coach Fee where she's talked about that journey, but to have someone on our campus that was instrumental in the founding of this sport and the creation of this sport and the amount of work that went in to get the sport to where it is. And man, she's had so many conversations with so many people. Nancy Post, so many conversations with so many people to encourage schools and administrators to adopt the sport and to know now that they have the number they need to officially be a varsity sport and compete for a championship in 2026. That 2026 is going to be a really special moment for that sport and a really, really special moment for Coach Fee. So hopefully we get to keep talking like this to be able to talk about it when that happens, because that's just such an awesome opportunity.
Yeah, and I'll be on that trip to Fairmount, West Virginia. I hope it's warm there in West Virginia. Sometimes it can be rough.
Good luck.
I hope it's at least 60. Give me some 60 and 70 or something. I'll take 70 and sunny. But, I'm going to have to dust off the cobwebs in terms of the camera. It's been a little bit since I picked up a camera. Helped a little bit during football, but full-fledged shooting, the last time I did that was a year ago for A&T at the Nationals.
Oh, so
yeah,
you're the special edition that'll ensure the championship is what I'm hearing, because last time you picked up a camera, we won a championship. So then since this is the next time you're picking up a camera, we should be in a good spot.
Now, I see what you did there. I think there's nothing to do with me being at the facility that's helping us win. Absolutely nothing. Okay. But the fun thing is I kind of, in a way, become the de facto photographer for the NCATA, because where I sit kind of center court on the ground there in front. And so I wasn't supposed to be, but I just did it last year and I'll probably do it this year. So we'll take it. But yeah, it's a quarters. So final 8, then you go semis, final 4, then down to championship, final 2, and then individuals on the Sunday. So looking forward to all that. And as we said, softball, baseball, they won their series this past weekend. Softball winning over Texas Tech, baseball winning over Incarnate Word. And then in terms of women's tennis, they fell 4-0 to TCU on Saturday, as we said on the men's side, falling to Oklahoma on Friday. And then, unfortunately, Oklahoma State just barely got them 4-2 on Sunday. And we spoke about the Aggie Invitational from this past weekend, men's golf. Great honor there. Mike McGraw winning his 50th career tournament. 50 tournaments, Corey. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
That's a lot. And he's such a great guy. And it's awesome when you see great people have success. And I saw the graphic come across. I didn't realize he was that close to 50 tournaments. So I saw the graphic and just got immediately excited. It's so cool to see him and the work that he's been able to do here at Baylor. And he's one that's had a lot of tenure here. And we get so spoiled with wins. And I know I've said this before, Justin, but we get so spoiled with wins that sometimes it can just feel like an expectation. But it is awesome to be able to say that you've won 50 tournaments. That's a lot of winning, and just hats off to Coach McGraw and the young men that are part of that program, because they're clearly doing something right, and I'm hopeful that they continue to see much success.
Looking at this week, the women's golf team currently up in Dallas playing in the Texas Showdown. They'll finish up today. Women's tennis tonight have a match. Just a few more regular season matches for women's tennis on the season. Of course, the men's tennis, they are completed at their home schedule. They finished that up a couple weeks back. But SMU tonight, 5 o'clock at the Hurd Tennis Center. UTSA, that's who softball's opponent is tonight, 6 o'clock in San Antonio on the road. This match can be seen on ESPN+. Baseball taking on top 20 Dallas Baptist up in Dallas. Also, that game on ESPN+ as well, 6:30 tonight. Baseball, a lot of games in a short period of time, taking on BYU. They're out in Provo, Utah. So, of course, you got the Thursday, the Friday, and the Saturday against BYU, the first time as conference foes. Looking forward to that one. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all kinds of other action. Track, they head to Gainesville, Florida. Looking forward to Alexis Brown taking on her old team. And, man, what a story she's been. The Sick'em podcast is this week. And a lot of fun to listen to her and John Morris and talk about her story and just everything that she had an extra bone in her right foot and they took that out. And I mean, you're talking about an individual who's one of the top performers in the country. And so go listen to that podcast. It's well worth your listen. 30 minutes of fun right there. Men's golf, they're back into competition. Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona at the Thunderbird Collegiate, hosted by Arizona State. And then women's tennis, they take on Oklahoma on Friday at home and then have a home match versus Texas on Sunday. As for Baylor baseball, we talked about BYU. As for softball, should say, taking on Texas the final time as conference foes for now. And I never like when people say final time ever, like, who knows what the future, but for now, it's the final time. And so looking forward to this one. And Corey, always, you're the perfect person to speak to this. So, when I got here back in 2014, I look at the schedule and I see, Baylor's playing Texas. There's 2 home games and we're going to 1 on the road. And then the next year it's 1 at home and 2 on the road. So what's the story behind that? I love the fact that there's, the home and away and all that good stuff there, but that's unique.
It is very unique. And it's actually, I asked Coach Moore that when I started as their administrator, and it's something that he and the coach at Texas at the time, I don't know who the coach was because they had a new coach within the last couple of years, but it's something they talked about because the schools are so close together, being able to have fans enjoy the competition every year versus at their home every year versus having to have a full series where it's away. So that's why you see the 2 in one place, 1 in the other. And then you just alternate who has the majority of the series in their home stadium. But I was very intrigued by it initially, but I've enjoyed it. I think it's an awesome opportunity for our fans. And it allows for a little bit of a different approach to a weekend series and it being manageable with a 90-mile trip, give or take. So I like it. I think this year's test will be an interesting one. I do know, to your point about people saying this is the final time ever, Coach plans to still schedule Texas. So let's get excited. We'll still be competing against them, even if it's non-con. But for this year, Texas has been playing well. They've been playing really, really well. And I know that they're going to have our number because we swept them last year and they were ranked. And it was a big weekend for Baylor softball. So I know that there's a little bit in them that wants to get us back for that. But in addition to that, they are peaking, as Coach Moore would say, at the right time, and just came off of a weekend against Oklahoma where they won the series, and that was their first time winning a series. And I don't remember what the stat was that our communications person, Katie, told us, but it was a ridiculous stat, like decades where they hadn't won the series. So I know that they're coming off of a high. I have no idea who their midweek opponent is, but they're going to be one that we're going to need to come out strong against for sure and play well against to be able to repeat what we did last year. But very much looking forward to that and looking forward to hosting them on Friday. And then traveling down the road, we need some green and gold to travel down the road with us. Okay, we need some friends, but traveling and hopefully being able to take a game or 2 in their stadium as well to be able to come away with a sweep. But it'll be a fun one for sure.
6:30 on Friday. This can be seen on Big 12 Now and ESPN Plus, but also Getterman Stadium. You want to come out to this one. It's going to be a packed house, I'm sure. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully some good weather. Don't have to worry about the eclipse. It's behind us. Don't worry about some good mid-April Texas weather around here. Grab you some brisket and head to the stadium. Nothing like watching some Texas Baylor softball in April. And then, yes, as you said, Corey, 2 o'clock on Saturday in Austin, and then 1 o'clock on Sunday in Austin. Also, men's tennis, they're going to be in action also in Austin, Texas, against the Longhorns. And so that's their the end of the season for the men in terms of their final regular season match. The women's tennis program finishing out their final week of regular season matches, all 3 at home. So tennis is coming down to the wire. I mean, you get it's kind of bittersweet, right? If you're a senior, knowing that this is your final week of regular season matches. Of course, they have the Big 12 championships coming up soon. And then looking forward to the NCAA tournament, which is not too distant future as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because the time is just moving and we are quickly approaching the end of the semester, and it's one of those things where it's a lot to take in. You talk about our tennis programs that are really close to ending their regular season, and man, just the thought, especially if you're a senior, the thought that all right, we're starting to count down the games at this point. We have 5 games left or 4 games left, and the feeling of that. So you're trying to manage those emotions and still show up strong and show up well. But it's an exciting time. I think postseason is the time where there's a lot of energy. It's where competition takes it to another level, and everybody's playing their best version of that sport. And it's a fun time to watch sports. We have lots of sports that are going on, lots of sports that are beginning to transition from regular season to postseason. So should be some fun action happening in the next couple of weeks and months as a lot of our spring sports start. I won't say winding down because they're actually picking up in many ways, but finishing up their regular season and then preparing for postseason. So I'm looking forward to it. Obviously have my softball blinders on, given the role that I sit with them. So I'm much more attuned with what's going on there. But we have lots of programs that are preparing to transition into postseason, and I'm just looking forward to what those programs will be able to do, and we'll be keeping all of those student athletes in my thoughts, especially the seniors, because like you said, you want to go out with with playing your best in your sport and hopefully on top. And I know that can be a lot of pressure, but that could also be a lot of reward depending on how you handle and navigate that pressure. So we'll see what happens, Justin. Lots of sports left and lots of opportunity for our Baylor Bears to make a name for themselves.
Baylor softball, 15 regular season games left on the season, 21-14 on the year, 5-10 in Big 12 play. As for Baylor baseball, they have 24 regular season games left for them. So a lot of games left on the baseball side compared to softball. 13-18 on the season, 5-7 in Big 12 play. Women's tennis, 15-9 overall, 7-4 in Big 12 play. As we said, the final regular season matches this week. Men's tennis, the same can be said for them. 18-9 overall and 2-4 in conference play. That'll do it for today's edition of Inside Baylor Sports, a Sport and Story production. Thanks for listening. For Corey Bolts, I'm Justin Hoff. Have a great Tuesday, and Sick 'em Bears.